March 12th. We are now at the airport. I know that once we had landed, I'm supposed to let the local police take over, and thanks to Miss Tenero and Miss Melee, I was able to preserve the crime scenes, but I just can't shake it. I wasn't able to talk with Miss Tenero in private, so I'm left wondering just what she is up to. Why did she do what she did? There must be a way for me to continue my investigation. I've been expecting you, Miles Edgeworth. Franziska? I thought you were still in Germany. Why do you have a whip? I go where I am needed, and wherever there are criminals to be caught. Her name is Franziska von Karma, the daughter of my mentor, Manfred von Karma. She, like myself, is a prosecutor. Are you heading up this case? It would be a bit of a relief if you are. Don't you try to flatter me, Miles Edgeworth. I'm placing you under arrest. Goddammit again. What? It's quite frustrating, actually. I had hoped to exact my revenge on you in a different venue, but I'll have to take what I can. I never thought I'd see the day when a disciple of the House of Von Karma would become a criminal. Have you no shame? Wait, it has all been a huge misunderstanding. I didn't kill the victim. A misunderstanding? I heard all about the murder over the police radio from the captain himself. You waited for the victim on the first floor and then beat him to death. Franziska, do you honestly believe that I killed a man? I suppose I should reserve judgment until after I have investigated this for myself. I can put your arrest on hold until then. That's as it should be. Ha! I don't need a lecture on how to perform my duties from you, of all people. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is all I strive for. Well, I have my own creed which I must fulfill, so why don't we solve this together? I have to get going. The crime scene waits. Don't you dare leave town. Trust me, I had no intention to. Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir. Too slow. Ow. Listen up, I'm leaving you in charge of watching this man. Don't mess up, understand? Mr. Edgeworth, I'm supposed to guard him? A simple yes or no, detective. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. You just leave it to me. Miles Edgeworth. If you interfere with my investigation, I'll arrest you on the spot. Are we clear? Now then, if you'll excuse me. Good to see you again, Mr. Edgeworth. Sir, boy, am I glad to see you're okay. Thank you, detective. I believe in you, sir. You can lean on me. I'll get you through this. I have to admit, I am a bit curious as to what Franziska is up to. Maybe I should ask the good detective. Very well. In that case, I have a few questions for you. Initial investigation? So how is the initial investigation going? We just shipped the body off to the coroner's office, and we're taking statements now, sir. That sounds like Franziska. She was always good at quick responses to a case. I'd say she was a little too quick, sir. Oh, how so? I rushed on over as soon as I got word of the affair, sir, but somehow when I got here, Miss Von Karma was already barking out orders at everyone. It was kind of creepy, as though she knew there had been a murder or something, and had come in advance to await your flight's arrival. That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly and out of the blue. Plus, I still don't know why she's here in America. There must be some backstory to all of this. Ms. Von Karma just kind of popped up at the prosecutor's office about a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads related to a certain incident. No details. It's kind of top secret, so she can't talk about it, even with me, sir. Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to you, detective. Although I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine. Anyway, that's about all the info I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate. Yes, it is high time to resume my investigation. Starting with talking to the people involved in this case afresh. Nobody... Oh, actually, this guy was part of the case. This man was in first class with me. He was quite shaken up by the whole affair. I'd be pretty scared too if I got caught up in a murder investigation, sir. Quiver. I did it! I made it the whole flight. I'm not scared of turbulence anymore. This life vest is proof I made it out alive. It's now my prized possession. How could you just take that from the plane? It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. It's got nothing to do with the murder, at least. All these other people were not on my flight. What's up, girl? I'm assuming that's the pilot. So you must be the captain. Why, yes I am. And who might you be? I am the prodigy prosecutor, Franziska von Karma, and I have a few questions for you. Don't you dare, Captain. Getting friendly with another woman? I'll never forgive you if you do. What are you talking about? I only have eyes for you, my dear Cammy. Aww. I wouldn't bet money on our dear Captain to be much of a reputable person. Sure you don't want to ask the Captain some questions, sir? He was in the cockpit the entire time. I highly doubt he would know anything of use. Anyway, I like to leave that type of witness to Franziska and her whip. Ah! Now see here. Ack? Sorry. I'm sorry. How long do you intend to hold me? It is impossible for me to be the criminal, I told you. Mr. It's funny that they won't let these guys off the plane, but they let me off the plane. Mr. LeBlanc? Oh, it is you. Tell this man to stop stopping me from going. Time is money. I don't have even 1 second of wasteful time to spend. Okay, so everything is... Yeah, okay. Yeah, they got everything numbered, including the footprints and stuff like that. Cool. I can't go over there. Did you finish taking a statement yet? Yep, all done, sir. I do not concern if you're not done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back. What is your cargo? If you make a single scratch on my art, you will pay. Art? What sort of art? Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down in the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small. From folk customs to stone statues, I sell all kinds of art. Folk costumes? Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat. It kind of looks like that other piece of cloth. Oh. Sir? Page 2. Oh. Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me? Oh, it's a Virginian cloth. As I suspected, your hat is made of the same material, I suppose. Yes, of course. This fabric is so famous, orders come from over the seas for more. The world-famous export of Virginia, its beautiful pattern has been soiled by blood. Then this is the cargo you were talking about earlier? No. My cargo this time is much, gigantic. You, detective. When can I have my cargo moved? You can get your cargo back when we're done investigating, pal. The stubbornness of you police, it is no good. And it is no good that attendant refuses to exit the attendant's room, too. That attendant? I wonder if he's talking about Miss Tenero. Interesting. Back and look at anything else from it. Rhoda Tenero? What did you mean by that attendant, Mr. LeBlanc? She was taken into the attendant's room for her interview, and then they still have not come out. They make no sign of coming out either. I was finished with my own interview much earlier, quicker than her. Why is Miss Tenero's interview the only one that's taking up so much time? Miles Edgeworth, you were given free rein to examine the plane, weren't you? Yes, I was able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Miss Tenero. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendant room. Before I do, you still have to clear up a few issues surrounding your own circumstances. I understand. You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth. Franziska's logic. Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here in this very lot. Nope, that's already wrong. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found, the only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect. The likeliest suspect, Franziska? Do you have a problem with that? No, but it's not like you used to use such vague wording. You're usually a bit more absolute. I'm simply trying to watch out for you. Or is my kindness too hard for you to comprehend? Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break her line of logic fast. Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. Nothing wrong here. Scene of the crime was here. This is wrong. Present? What do I have that shows that it wasn't here, though? Tracks? Something's being dragged. Oh yeah, this was used to transport the body.
Objection!
It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all. And what does that mean? I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves the body was moved from a different location. The killer used this suitcase to move the victim's body, meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all. Now, who's the one rashly jumping to conclusions? Excuse me? All you did was find this piece of cloth inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could be that the killer simply chose that suitcase as a good place to hide the cloth. I expected that you would come to that conclusion. It would seem that I can't escape that easily. You should know better than that. Avant Karma is perfect in every way. But you know that the killer definitely wheeled that suitcase around at some point? As if there's proof of that. There is. The tracks. These.
Take that!
The spilled grape juice in front of the elevator? Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where is the evidence that proves the killer dragged the suitcase? The dragging part. This part.
Take that!
This mark here, wouldn't you say that it looks suspiciously like tracks from two wheels? I suppose. Further, there is also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase. This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here. I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else. I'm glad you've come to your senses. Not so fast. This still doesn't put you in the clear, not by a long shot. Logic Part 2. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence. We already know that part's not wrong or false, because the thing broke out of the case after the turbulence. Like, the turbulence is what made it break out. You waited for the victim in the lounge, where you beat him to death. Then, while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase, the plane hit that patch of turbulence and outflew the body from within the suitcase. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from, and presented it to be the discoverer of the body. Not a bad bit of logic for something you thought of on the fly? Just what are you insinuating? That I will show you exactly how flawed your logic is? No matter how strong of a face you have to put on, not even you can hide your fears from me. I'll expose the flaws in her logic in one fell swoop. Franziska's Logic Part 2. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit the turbulence. Wait, no. Yeah, this part's wrong. Because it says before I hit the turbulence. Boom. We know this thing came after the turbulence, right there in the sentence. Boop.
Objection!
The fact that you took this piece of evidence into account in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared. Evidence and logic, essential tools that those who would stand in a courtroom must learn to master. But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix? A fake? This Captain Ugo piggy bank is just such a fake. It is not the real murder weapon. What? The timing of when the bank was taken from the shop is important, and it was taken after the turbulence had occurred. But then what about the blood on the bank? What do you make of that? I assume it was added after the murder when the killer fabricated this weapon. Looking at it this way, the killer basically did three things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. The killer then proceeded to pick up the bank from the floor. and took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Finally, the victim's wallet was planted on my personage, in my pocket to be precise. Everything was done so that I would be framed for the murder of Mr. Ackby Hicks. You there? Yes, ma'am. Other than this piggy bank, was anything else resembling a murder weapon found? We didn't find anything in this lounge or in the shop that could be used as one man. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during turbulence, and the remaining items all tested negative for any traces of blood. I see. Well, Miles Edgeworth, it appears your stall tactics are at an end. But it's possible that it's just hidden somewhere, sir. Eek! If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I think the weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the body cloth. Exactly what I was thinking. Because the cloth was hidden inside that suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence. Which means that the real murder weapon is either still on the murderer's personage, or is still at the real crime scene.
Objection!
There's one more possibility, and that would be that the piggy bank is in fact the real weapon. But didn't we just... Hold it! Let me finish. The killer took the bank out from the display case before the turbulence, by opening the lock on the display case door, and it was at that time the glass pane in the door was broken. Yeah, we know that part's wrong. I'd say that is a perfectly reasonable line, wouldn't you? Let's see, so that means that the killer had the key to the display case. Franziska, the person you're talking about. Not so fast, I'm not finished. The person I'm talking about also committed another sin. She tricked the captain, and granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is the sin of lying. Speaking of which, I recall that you also wish to speak with her. Yes. Very well, permission granted, but only if I can sit in on your interrogation. Do we understand each other? I have no intention of interrogating her, but you are welcome to accompany me, so if you so wish. Mr. Tenero's in the flight attendant's room. Let's move. Cool. In we go. So you're the one that poked. I was like looking around the thing trying to see if... Oh, there's another suitcase. I don't know if that means anything. So you're the one that poked around inside the plane without the captain's permission. Deviating from the flight attendant's manual is very unbecoming, you know. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that? Miss Tenero. Ah, Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too? Can you please help us and shed some light on why you did what you did? Alright. There's all this junk inside the boxes, there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. That's our lost and found. Who loses a crown and an Oscar? Gold crowns and swords and necklaces is like a treasure trove in here, sir. Left on the plane implies they were carried onto it to begin with. Something tells me it's time for Goyu to send its metal detectors out for repairs. Alright, lady, let's go. Let's begin. Captain's permission. Why did you lie about receiving the captain's permissions like that? Because I didn't think I would be able to get his permission. What do you mean? The captain, he only has ears for Cammy. I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seems to be rather taken with Miss Melee. Yes, and on top of that, I had mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends. In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges. Really? You were able to prove your innocence? Oh, thank goodness. Miss Tenero, is it? There is one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the in-flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you? Please answer honestly. Yes, I was. And why were you there? Well, Why the sudden hesitation? Franziska seems to have struck a nerve. In-flight shop. All I did was go check up on the shop like I always do. You're saying it was for work then? Yes, I'm in charge of the shop, so I have to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise. After your visit to the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct? Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell. Mr. Nero claims to have no reason other than duty to go to the shop. But is that all there is to it? Maybe I should ask her about that thing. That thing. The suitcase? It's either this or the suitcase. I'm gonna go with the suitcase since it was designed by her. If you could please take a look at this for me, Miss Tenero? Oh, that suitcase. Yes, about the suitcase. You are the one who designed it, correct? And I think I figured something else about it. The suitcase is the reason you went to the shop, isn't it? There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there? Won't you please tell me more about that suitcase? Yes, I was interested in seeing how the suitcases I had designed were selling. I know that, as a service profession, I'm not supposed to care, but I really wanted to know. And I was glad to see that it was the last one there. Nani? The last one there? But there was two. So you're saying, Mr. Nero, that the suitcase in question was the last one? Yes, they're just so popular they're practically flying off the shelves. That's not exactly the impression I got. The one in the shop is most definitely the last one. Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase. Really? Then I'm guessing we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one. I didn't say anything about buying it. Then say you'll buy it. I'm sorry, I can't. But why? I think it'd go great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee it personally as a service professional. So that means somebody else had the suitcase. Assuming she's not lying. Someone else had the suitcase, and after using it to transport the body, put it back. Well, that is how I should put this. It's hideous. What? Maybe that was a bit too direct. Moving on, my issue with the suitcase isn't the design, it's the number of them remaining. Remaining? There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it. 2, but that's impossible. I'm sure there was only 1. Looks like her story has generated quite the contradiction. When I left the shop, I'm positive there was only 1 suitcase left. Something is amiss here. What could be the meaning of this inconsistency? Assuming things happen from left to right, like maybe because the dude might have not been killed in the store. He might have been killed, like, because the elevator goes. They said the elevator also goes to like the lower area, but only staff can get there. If he was killed there, put in the suitcase, brought up, but then he was knocked out of the suitcase by the turbulence. Since he spilled everything, like all the money and shit, that's too much to clean up, so leave him there. Bring the suitcase to the shop, see the thing on the floor, bring the thing on the floor back and plant it as a murder weapon. And then I don't know where you go from there, but okay. By the way, Miss Tenero, what is one of those suitcases doing here? I assume that one's hers. I thought you said there was only 1 left. That one is, it's mine. I've used it for a very long time now. She's used it for a long time. I think not, because it still has the price tag on it. Well, she could have left the price tag. I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me. Excuse me? I don't believe for even 1 second that you've used this for a very long time. What proves that this hasn't been used? This?
Take that!
Tell me, Miss Tenero, is it also your habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase? Ah. What is the meaning of this? Why would you lie about a suitcase? Despite having faith in her design sense, the sales numbers made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. Miss Tenero, I think I understand. I know what you were trying to hide. Now then, the suitcase was originally in the flight shop. Seeing as how the price tag is still on the suitcase, one can only assume it was out on the floor in the sales in the shop. And the person who bought the suitcase was her, right? She bought her own suitcase.
Take that!
It was you, wasn't it, Mr. Nero? I hate to say this, but this suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it? Yeah. You saw how poorly this design that you poured your heart into was selling, and were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like it was selling by buying it yourself. Isn't that right? And the reason you went to the shop and come back here... I'm sorry. All I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe I had finally accomplished something. But the suitcase didn't sell. It's because of the design, isn't it? All because it is, as you put, hideous. I can't say they chose a great place in which to sell them either. We weren't selling a single one, and they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing them there day in and day out. So I decided to buy one for every flight I worked. You buy one every single time you work a flight? I see. So in order to keep your resolution, you went and bought one today as well. Yes. Here's my receipt for that purchase. This receipt is clearly timestamped 5:40 a.m. The truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold. They're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight. Miss Tenero, where are those other suitcases? They should all be down in the cargo hold. And the suitcase the killer used could very well have come from the cargo hold. Mr. Edgeworth, you don't think that the killer used one of my suitcases to... Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to move the victim's body. Ah, how could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trip. That's all I ever wished for them to be. Miss Tenero, is there any other way to get to the cargo hold other than the elevator? The only other way is just through that door there. What about security? That door has no special lock installed because just to enter this room, you need a special keycard that only crew members have access to. Which means that the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only crew members as potential suspects. I can't believe it. Yes, Franziska? Going on these wild goose chases, you're a disgrace to the Von Karma name. What do you mean by that? The suitcase came from the cargo hold. That fact alone tells the whole story. Yes, which is why I said the culprit must be a crew member who used their keycard. Miles Edgeworth, you're proposing that the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct? Yes, that's the only realistic possibility. That other attendant, Miss Melee. I asked her earlier and she had this to say. Franziska got information out of Miss Melee. In order to make the elevator go down to the cargo hold, a different keycard is required. A different one? Yes, and the only person who holds that particular card is you, Miss Rhonda Tenero, and only you. Ah! What? Is this true, Miss Tenero? Yes, I keep that keycard in my locker at all times. Could you please show us that card right now? Yes, hold on. Ah, I don't believe it. What's wrong? The keycard. It's gone. Ha ha ha, very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen when in fact you're just trying to hide it from us. You've really thought this through. Wait, it's not like that. You can tell us all about what it's like down at the station, officer. Arrest this woman. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Edgeworth! What's wrong? There's disbelief written all over your face. Franziska, I know you are the lead investigator on this case, however, hold it. Don't even think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, that basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo hold now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth? I intend to do likewise. To be continued. Yes, I will save my progress. Save complete. And we will investigate the cargo hold next time. Bye-bye.